Hi, I'm Rob Pryor. I'm an illustrator and a director, and I'm here to show you how to color comics using paint. What I'm doing here is I'm going to paint with watercolor on top of a comic page, and what I did is I printed out the page, and I want a very painterly look to it. So with watercolor, and I'm just using any watercolor that you can get at any art store, I'm using a wide enough brush where I can get in there. And a lot of times what I like to do is I like to get some actual water and put it on there, like that. So the paint, especially since you're using watercolor paint, the paint doesn't really stick to it. Now, there's a reference that I have here that I can just use to basically go off of. And it's good to have a reference to use because you've got to know what you're going to do and where you're going to go with your paint. In painting, I've switched to another brush in hand so I can just get a little bit more done. I usually like to paint or draw with both hands. And what you're trying to do is you're just trying to get all your basic shapes in there. Using the reference just lightly. Get in your shadows, putting a little bit more in there. Using watercolor on top of the ink will end up giving you a nice painted look to your book, while being able to use the nice bright colors from the watercolor and everything to make it stand out. Now in this particular painting I'm only going to use one basic color, which would be blue, just to make it a little bit easier and not make this a 30-minute how-to. You want to keep your highlights in, and since you're using watercolor, I'm not using any white. Now you can go back and put a little bit of white highlights in. I'm just trying to get a basic form. Oh, sorry about that. Make sure that your shadows are in there. So what you have to remember is try to use some watercolors. If you're doing this my way, just use watercolors. Let the water do the work for you. Pull the colors around a little bit. You can get a nice painted piece out of it. So that's my style of using paint to color a comic page. Get your watercolor, get your water, get your brushes, and start filling in and painting. Make sure you have the proper reference. I'm Rob Pryor. Keep an eye out for my film called No Turning Back. Thanks.